Now that I have your attention, let's rewind a bit. I was recently asked a question about caffeine and coffee intake. Somebody wanted to know, how much caffeine can you have in a day? What is the daily recommendation? What is safe? And also, how much should you have before a workout? In this video, I'm going to answer all those questions, and I'm going to do my own little personal energy drink review, because we all know how popular those are. First things first, let's talk about the generally regarded as safe daily recommendation of caffeine intake. According to the good old FDA, the amount of caffeine that you can safely consume in a day from all sources is 400 milligrams. To me, that seems unbelievably extraordinarily high. Maybe it's because I'm very sensitive to caffeine, but in the big picture, 400 milligrams sounds like a lot to me. The average cup of regular coffee has approximately 95 to 100 milligrams of caffeine in it. There are some people who drink 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 10 cups of coffee a day. That, my friends, is an astronomical amount of caffeine, in my opinion. And by the way, if you haven't done so yet, make sure to like and share this video with everyone you know, and smash that subscribe button too. Now back to our regularly scheduled program. Caffeine is a highly sought after and regarded substance across most of the nation and the world as well. In fact, it is the second largest commodity only to oil, which of course we need copious amounts of. There are some people who wake up in the morning and they start their day with a cup of coffee. And if they don't have their cup of coffee, don't look at them, don't talk to them, don't even think about them. And they tell you that too. Because if they don't have their cup of coffee, they can't start their day on the right foot. Many years ago, I tasted coffee. I thought it was disgusting. I love the smell of it. I do not like the taste. My entire life, I've had maybe 2 cups of coffee and I choked both of them down. And I don't plan on drinking it anytime soon. But coffee is just one form of caffeine. You also have tea, you have energy drinks, you have energy shots, you have espresso, and you have all these different formulations of caffeine-containing beverages. Green tea, for example, has approximately 37 milligrams of caffeine per 8 ounces. That's not too bad. But then when you get these espresso shots and these other things, the caffeine starts to really pile up. For example, there's this drink called the Red Eye. One of my good friends usually has a Red Eye, which is a cup of coffee and 2 shots of espresso. I did some quick math on that, and you're talking about over 300 milligrams of caffeine in that drink alone. Some people have 2 or 3 Red Eyes a day and energy drinks and other forms of caffeine. Now you're talking like 500 to 1,000 milligrams of caffeine a day. That is a heaping amount. And the reason why they have that much caffeine is because your body starts to adapt to the caffeine over time. And you know how it works. When you get used to something, you need a little bit more to get your fix. It's just like exercise, except in a negative direction. In the very beginning of a workout, when you just start working out for the first time, a little bit goes a long way and you make a lot of progress. But then guess what happens? You have to go beyond your limits, beyond your comfort zone a little bit in order to keep on making progress. Well, caffeine is very much the same way. You have a little bit in the beginning, and then a little bit doesn't do it anymore. So you need a little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little more often, and a little more often. And before you know it, 50 milligrams a day turns into 100, and then 200, then 300, and then you're just drinking coffee or doing caffeinated beverages all day long. Then you're behind the 8 ball, my friend. And every single individual is different, and everyone has a different tolerance level. I am very sensitive to caffeine, and I know what my tolerance levels are. And like I said, I don't drink coffee, I don't like it. There are certain energy drinks I like and pre-workout formulas I like, and I use them once in a while. But I never wanted to get to a point where I absolutely needed any of that stuff to get by or get through my day or get through a workout. So I adapted without it. Go figure. If I'm out on a 5-day excursion somewhere, hiking and camping with my significant other, and I don't get my coffee fix in the morning, guess what? I'm gonna be totally fine because I'm not addicted to any of that. Now, if you take the adverse of that and you have a person who drinks 500, 600 milligrams of caffeine every single day, and they go on a 5-day adventure somewhere, they have to have their caffeine fix in the morning, and then what? They're gonna be running around in circles going stir crazy, that's what. That's a very uncomplimenting position to be in, and I don't aspire to be there, and I don't suggest you do either. Having said all of that, let's talk about this fact. There are some benefits of caffeine, one of which is it improves alertness. If you're driving somewhere late at night and you're falling asleep and you have some caffeine, buy an energy drink or coffee or tea or anything like that, it can give you a little bit more alertness and you have less chance of falling asleep behind the wheel and wrecking your car. And in that case, it's a very positive benefit. And I have done that before too when I was driving cross country. Another obvious benefit of caffeine is the energy boost it gives you. This improves your physical performance in the gym. It improves your physical performance outside the gym if you're doing daily activities. And even just during the day, if you're doing anything rudimentary like walking the dog or going to the mailbox. Caffeine also happens to be a nootropic, and that is part of the alertness and the cognitive function that it gives you, but it also gives you a mood boost as well. However, that has a little bit of a slippery slope because as much of a mood boost as it can give you, it also can give you a big crash as well. And then all of a sudden, anxiety and depression could shoot through the roof. So if you're highly sensitive to caffeine, that effect will be magnified. So you want to be very careful when you're walking on that slack line, my friend. Another benefit of caffeine is the fact that it can boost your metabolism and help you oxidate fat better. In the event you do have some excess weight, especially in the stomach area, which is called visceral fat, maybe having a little bit of caffeine a day can be beneficial for you. And lastly, caffeine has been shown to have potential benefits for the reduction of type 2 diabetes risk. And anytime you can help try to reverse or prevent disease, I'm all for it. But that's where all the good news comes to a close. We're now going to enter the wonderful world of energy drinks, which I love to talk about. And believe me when I tell you this, there's a good, a bad, and ugly side of all of them. Let's unpack this a little further. Oh, this is exciting. Let's start with one of these very popular ones called Rockstar Energy. In very fine print, I might add, it tells you how much caffeine is in it, which is 160 milligrams for the whole can. It has 25 calories. It's got a Rockstar Energy blend. Ooh, that sounds fancy, huh? And proven performance. It says it right there on the can. However, I've got a little bit of a problem with this. I go to the ingredient label, and what do I find? Artificial flavors, sucralose, yellow number 5, caramel color. Sorry, but Rockstar Energy does not get the K-Rail seal of approval. That means it needs to go to the firing squad, and it needs to be destroyed. Guess what? Rockstar has another energy drink called Silver Ice. On this one, it says sugar-free, 20 calories per can. Wow, 5 calories less. How awesome. Proven performance once again. And this has, get this, 240 milligrams of caffeine. You drink 2 of these babies a day and you're well over the recommended daily amount. If you're not used to energy drinks and caffeine, you just might want to stay away from this one. It too has artificial sweeteners in it. One of which is called acesulfame potassium, also abbreviated as ACE-K if you ever look at it in an ingredient label. And it also has sucralose, and it's got some good old-fashioned caramel coloring in it too. Sadly, this drink does not get the K-Rail seal of approval either, so it also needs to go to the firing squad. Next up, Ghost Energy. This is a yummy blue raspberry Sour Patch flavor. Woo! I used to love Sour Patch Kids when I was growing up. Let's check out the bells and whistles. Oh, wow, lots of fancy stuff on the back of this one. Legendary Energy, Epic Focus. Wow, if I'm gonna have focus, I want it to be epic. 0 sugars, fantastic. No artificial colors. We're onto something here. Maybe we got a winner. Oh, it's got a bunch of zeros on here too. 0, I don't even know. It's so small I can't even read it. And by the way, when I'm reading these ingredient labels, the print is so small, I need to get a magnifying glass to look at it. Or I take my phone and I take a picture of it and I blow it up. And my eyesight isn't really that bad for age 52. So it seems awfully convenient that they have all the bells and whistles listed clearly on the outside of the can. But when it comes to the ingredients, the stuff that you should be looking at first, you can barely see them. They're microscopic. And if you're trying to find the caffeine content of these, sometimes you have to search really hard to find it. This one has 200 milligrams of caffeine. So this would be the equivalent of 2 cups of coffee. So let's say you started your day with a cup of coffee in the morning to get percolating. Then you headed into the gym about 8:30 in the morning. And you said, oh, I need a little more energy, and you sucked one of these babies down while you're working out or right before, you're 300 milligrams of caffeine into the day already. And again, if you're highly sensitive, that's bad news, my friend. This also has 1,000 milligrams of Pure Carnitine, which is a brain-boosting formula. 100 milligrams of something else I can't read, 150 milligrams of something, 100 milligrams of something, I don't know. That's all blah, blah, blah to me. Whenever I see the word no artificial colors right there, I raise an eyebrow because I think they're trying to hide something. Sure enough, I go to the ingredient label and what do I find? Artificial flavor and sucralose. Well, that means only one thing. This Ghost Energy drink is about to become a ghost because it's going to the firing squad. Next item up for bids, Bang Energy. Pow. One of my favorite wrestlers of all time, DDP, Diamond Dallas Page, used to have this move to finish out his opponents called the Diamond Cutter. And right before he did it, he'd put his hands up in the air and he'd say, guess what? It's time to review the energy drink called Bang. 300 whopping milligrams of caffeine in this bad boy right here. The equivalent of 3 cups of coffee. 0 calories, but it's got Ultra CoQ10 in it, and they're essential amino acids as well. Plus they're telling you to fuel your destiny. How fancy is that? Wow, let me do a little deeper dive in the ingredient label. Sour ropes is the flavor. Whew. I don't even know what that means, never even heard about it. There's a lot of good news about Bang Energy though. All Bang fitness products are PhD formulated and sports trainer endorsed. Who's the sports trainer, I wonder? Wow, I gotta find out who that mystery man is. That's all fine and dandy, but I need to go to the ingredient label to make sure this is legit. Well, of course, it's got sucralose in it, artificial sweetener. Doggone it. I had high hopes about this stuff because it has 0 grams of sugar, 0 artificial colors, it's gluten-free, and it's even vegan. But they just had to put an artificial sweetener in there. So unfortunately, this can of Bang energy drink is going to feel the bang. It's going to the firing squad. 4! Okay, it's time to reign. R-E-I-G-N. You know, like Roman Reigns, the wrestler. Reign, total body fuel, sour gummy worm flavor. Branched chain amino acids, BCAAs. CoQ10, electrolytes. Fantastic. It's also got an array of B vitamins. It reduces fatigue. It increases concentration. And it's got vitamin K in it. Also, 0 grams of sugar per can, 0 artificial colors, 0 BS claims. Well, I'll be darned, that's a new one I haven't seen before. And 0 grams of fat per can. Am I to believe that there are some of these energy drinks that have little chunks of fat floating around in them? I don't know, I'm a little confused on that one. Anyway, back to our story. Reign has 300 milligrams of caffeine. Again, a whopping amount of caffeine in my opinion, especially if you're drinking more than one of these a day. And sadly, it has not one, but 2 forms of artificial sweetener. Sucralose and aspartame potassium. So it's time for this to stop reigning and meet its destiny. It's going to the firing squad. 4! Last but not least, on the left-hand side of the screen, maybe your right-hand side, I'm not quite sure, we're gonna go over this very popular energy drink called Celsius. This has taken the world by storm over the past 5 to 6 years. I've seen it all over the place. A lot of my clients drink it, and they ask me questions about it all the time. And just like I give them the straight dope, I'm gonna give it to you as well. This one is called Sparkling Orange, and it probably comes in sparkling other flavors as well. It says essential energy, accelerates metabolism, burns body fat on the front, 0 grams of sugar, and there's a few little icons of people doing activities on the bottom. Ooh, there's even a yoga person too. Wow. I don't know about you, but when I do yoga, I know I need to have a heck of a lot of energy. Caffeine content, in a very small print I might add, 200 milligrams. So this little 12-ounce can has a whopping amount of caffeine and 10 calories only. Then I go further into the ingredient label, again in small print as always, sucralose, artificial sweetener. And that's a shame, because they have all this fancy print here. They spend all this money for all this fancy print. No high fructose corn syrup, no aspartame, no artificial colors. Aspartame, by the way, is aspartame potassium. When you hear me say that or you see ACE K, it's basically one and the same. They claim they don't have it, and that's fine, they don't. But they do have sucralose, which in the world of and the continuum of bad artificial sweeteners, sucralose and ACE K are kind of one and one. They also claim to be vegan, non-GMO, kosher, gluten-free. Boy, they got a bunch of bells and whistles. It's a shame, though, that they stick sucralose into this can because it just doesn't get the K-Rail seal of approval. So you know what needs to happen to it? It needs to be destroyed. 4! Now let's talk about the sister product of Celsius sparkling water, and that is Celsius Essentials. Mango Tango flavor, natural flavor with other natural flavorings. Energy Plus, essential performance, 0 sugar, 10 calories for the whole can. And as you can see, this can is a little fatter than the last can, 16 ounces. And along with that being the case, the amount of caffeine has increased as well, 270 milligrams in this bad boy. And it's got similar bells and whistles to its cousin over there. Accelerates metabolism, physical and cognitive performance, no artificial colors, but they have to stick in their sucralose. Bad news, my friends. Before I send this to the firing squad, which you know it's going to, I gotta tell you a story about Celsius. My significant other was at work one day, and her company brought in a bunch of beverages. She noticed there was a Celsius can there. It said brain focus, energy, and all the fancy schmancy bells and whistles. So she drank the energy drink, didn't think anything twice, threw it away, and then came home. And then guess what happened? She proceeded to have the runs for 3 days in a row. Yeah, so something didn't agree with her. You just might want to be careful and heed my warning when it comes to Celsius drink too. Unless you like the idea of having the runs, I don't know, maybe you have this weird fixation on burning more calories by running to the bathroom all day and purging your body. But it doesn't sound too appetizing to me. Anyway, this needs to go to the firing squad as well. 4! Wow, I'm getting tired talking about all these bad, nasty energy drinks. And believe me, I only scratched the surface. There's a lot more of them out there. I just decided to pick some of the top ones out that I hear about all the time and I see mostly. This is what happens when you mess with Killer Cake. And just like I do with every other video, when I throw something under the bus that needs to be thrown on the bus, I give you a healthy alternative. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you not to drink energy drinks at all. I'm not gonna tell you not to have your coffee or your caffeine or anything, but always play it smart. Get the healthiest, cleanest version you can. And on my right-hand side here, I've got some healthy options for you. For example, this one right here I came across about last summer, I would say about 6-8 months ago. It's called Exponent Fusion Energy. This also says 0 sugar, it's plant-powered, it's got adaptogens, nootropics, electrolytes, amino acids. Nootropics are brain transmitters that help boost your energy. I think I talked about that earlier. This whole entire can has 15 calories, and it has 120 milligrams of caffeine. That's a much more manageable amount of caffeine, my friend, especially if you're just getting into energy drinks. So this right here also has zero sucralose, 0 artificial colors and flavors, and 0 acesulfame potassium. It says it right there. That, my friends, you can't go wrong with. This is one of the good guys. Exponent Energy. 2 thumbs up in my book. K-Rail approved. Goes over there. Next one, Jocko Go. You might be familiar with Jocko. He's a former Marine. He now has a whole line of supplements, energy drinks, protein powders, all these different things. I've watched interviews with him, and he talks about how all of his products are clean and he doesn't use any kind of artificial crap because he used to use it years ago and it had a bad impact on him and his son, and he decided to go down the healthy route. And I commend him for that, and I actually do endorse his products on a personal level, and I actually do like his product line, and I do talk about them often, and I use them every now and then as well. And this Jocko Go Real Energy Zero Crash energy drink gives you balanced energy, increased focus, and it also supports memory. Well, that's very, very good. I scanned his ingredient label. It's completely clean. There's no artificial colors, no artificial sweeteners. This has 5 calories per can, and it's got 150 milligrams of caffeine, which is a decent amount. And for me, I already know my tolerance levels. 150 is about my highest level that I ever want to go when I'm doing any kind of energy formula or any kind of supplement. And that is for the day as well. It's not once or twice a day. It's 150 milligrams maximum. That's my max that I can have and still feel comfortable. So I highly recommend Jocko Go. Clean energy drink right there. Next, we have this fun little energy drink called Clean. Whoa, go figure. It's absolutely clean to start with, right? They have 2 different versions here that I plucked off the shelf the other day at Whole Foods. This is a sparkling yerba mate. Well, they both are actually sparkling yerba mates. One of them is 0 calories. That's the difference. This clear one right here, the clear label, white. This has 0 calories. This has 70 calories in it. Both of which not only are clean, they're organic. See the little organic symbol right there? You don't have to go wrong when you see that. If you don't mind the calories, you might want to go with something like this, the clean one on the right, which is 70. If you do mind the calories and you're watching your caloric intake, then go with the 0 calorie one. Both of which clearly show the caffeine content, 160 milligrams right there. Do you see it? You don't have to look hard for it, right there. They're not hiding anything. That's another thing I like about these clean energy drink companies. They have all their bells and whistles listed. They have the caffeine content listed easily to see, and you don't get fooled or bamboozled. So clean is clean in my book. They get the K-Rail seal of approval as well. Last on my list of healthy energy drinks is probably my all-time favorite. It's called Guru Energy. I first came across these back in Northeast Pennsylvania at a health food store I worked at called Everything Natural in Clark Summit, PA. And if you ever scoot through town, stop in there. It's an awesome store. I believe it was around 2004. I came into work one day and I had to unload all these and put them on the shelves. And I stared at it and I was like, oh, check that out. All natural. And once again, they got the USDA organic symbol on there. And a lot of you are going to troll me right now and say there's no difference between organic and regular, and I disagree with you, and that's a whole nother argument, and I don't feel like getting into it right now. I'm a big fan of organic. Guru Energy, it tastes great. This can has 140 milligrams of natural caffeine, again, listed right there, right on the front. Easy to read, easy to see. I don't need a microscope. I don't need glasses. I can read it. I can see it. 0 sucralose, 0 aspartame. Great news right there. And when you scan through the ingredient label, you'll see that the ingredients are clean, they're organic, they're natural. And this can has 115 calories, and the light one has 25 calories, much less. But also, same bells and whistles about the caffeine. 140 milligrams is listed right there, easily to see. Non-disclosure on the front. 0 sucralose, 0 aspartame. And again, USDA organic. Both of these taste fantastic. They remind me of melted Smarties. Remember Smarties? We used to take packages of those and we would literally spend a whole Saturday afternoon, me and Kevin White and my brother, and we'd stand out in my yard and we'd flick them up in the air and we'd see who could throw them up the highest and catch them in our mouths. It's amazing we never choked to death back then. We did a lot of crazy things back in the 80s, but hey, that was the fun times, right? Okay, I'm closing out the gurus. They're going to the good side over here. Okay, my friends, here's the bottom line. If you're going to have an energy drink, make sure to grab one that's clean and healthy. I gave you a bunch of options to choose from. Choose one of these babies, drink it, have fun with it. Here's my request to you. Do not become addicted to caffeine. Like I said earlier, I never wanted to be in that position where I had to rely on caffeine every single day to do anything, to function, to get out of bed, to talk to people, to work out, to go on a hike, to play checkers. I just never wanted it to happen. So I never got addicted to it. I use these every now and then when I feel I need it. And when I need it is if I'm doing 2 workouts or 3 workouts in a day, and it's usually not workout 1, it's usually workout 2 or 3, that I might have some form of energy drink and I'll sip on it for an hour beforehand, and then I'll go and I'll crush my workout, whatever it is, the second or third one of the day. But I do not go past 150 milligrams a day. And oftentimes I'll have like 50 milligrams. I'll have half of one of these or just a less amount. Remember, it all adds up. And when you're accumulating all that amount, if you're having 400 milligrams a day, it's an accelerant of the body. It's a stimulant. Just think about that. It stimulates your heartbeat. It stimulates your blood pressure. It stimulates your organ function. It stimulates your digestive system. You're basically accelerating your insides really fast at a fast pace. In my opinion, that's kind of like accelerating the aging process, isn't it? Think about it. You're causing your body to work harder, to work faster. You need to slow down and chill out a little bit more. If you're heavily addicted to caffeine and you're trying to get off of it, then my suggestion is just pick 2 days a week and then cut your caffeine intake back on those 2 days. And then keep going and going and going on those 2 days every single week for weeks at a time, if not months at a time, until you get down to a point where you have 0 on those 2 days. And then work on 1 more day. Start cutting your caffeine intake down little by little until you get off caffeine that day. And then add another day. And then keep going until you have 0 left. And at that point, you're gonna become absolutely impervious. Well, maybe not. That might be a little bit of a far-fetched statement. But you're gonna become able to go through your days without caffeine. And here are some tricks you can do where you're not as reliant on caffeine. First of all, don't eat late at night. Eating late at night disturbs your sleep, it disrupts it. You may think that you're helping yourself and it helps you fall asleep, but the next day you often find yourself exhausted and tired and dragging. By finishing eating at 4 or 5 in the afternoon, doing like 16 hours of fasting into the next morning, you're gonna find that your energy is actually gonna be higher. And try to get to that point without any caffeine at all. And then maybe have a light dose of caffeine. Also, eating clean helps a lot. Hello, go figure. When you have huge nachos platters and cheeseburgers and french fries and all these processed carbs and processed meats and all these different things, it has a major effect on your energy levels, not just that day, but the nighttime and also the next day. Clean up your diet. Eat some good whole foods. Lots of greens, lots of fresh vegetables, lean proteins, eggs, and good organic nuts and seeds. And when the daylight hours come, and if you are feeling down or tired, if you have a little bit of extra time, take a nap. I'm telling you, I have taken 5-minute naps before in the middle of nowhere, and I felt absolutely refreshed like you wouldn't believe coming out of it. Energy was through the roof, brain function through the roof. It was like magic. Sometimes that's all it takes is a quick nap, and pow, you're right back into it. And as far as going into your workouts is concerned, the amount of caffeine you should have is up to you, really. It's what your tolerance levels are, and it depends on what type of workout you're doing. If you're gonna be doing some kind of hardcore, heavy beefcake workout and you need a ton of energy, then maybe you can go scale up to 150 to 200 milligrams and sip your energy drink too. When I say sip it, I mean drink it over a longer period of time. Don't just slam the whole thing. That can have a major shock to your system really fast. And then again, keep winning your way back until you can get to a point where you don't need a ton of caffeine to get your groove on. Always think in terms of minimalism. Only resort to these kind of things when you absolutely need them most. And that goes for energy drinks, coffee, tea, whatever it is when it comes to caffeine. Okay, that spells it out for you. This is Kevin David Rail. Let me know if you have any questions or comments about anything I said. Let me know what topics you want me to cover next. And let me give you a quick tip. I am going to be covering pre-workout powdered formulas as well down the road. So stay tuned for that one. And speaking of stay tuned, remember to like and share this video. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so yet. And hit that little bell indicator so you're always informed when I have a new video coming out. Until next time, this is Kevin David Rail reporting live.